One last ride in the Sun Belt for the Texas State Bobcats. I'm Keff Ciardello, host of Win Now or Get Bent, and I am joined by GJ Kinne, head coach of the Bobcats, and two of his players, Dorion Strawn, offensive lineman, and Kalil Alexander. They are in the Warehouse District in New Orleans for Media Day. Gentlemen, I'm sure you guys have talked a lot about football, but we'll start with you, GJ Kinne. What's the atmosphere like down there? I'm sure it's always fun down there in New Orleans, but how's it feeling being around all that media?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, we ate some good food last night, and so that was really good. Some fellowship and just having a good time with no media around. And then this morning we got straight to it as soon as we woke up, and it's been kind of a whirlwind. But especially with all the pack news and everything, everybody treated us great, and there was no weird or awkward moments or anything like that. Everyone treated us with a lot of respect, and I wouldn't think anything else. This is a great conference with great coaches and great players.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that it's been pretty cordial. I've been watching a lot of what Coach or Commissioner Keith Gill had to say about Texas State and everything. It's all been really nice.
For sure.
Even with that, there were no players on the first or second team. I heard you commented earlier. You gave quite a diplomatic answer.
Thank
But
you.
is that a little bit of bulletin board material for you? We'll start with Coach Kinney, and then I'll take it on to the players. But is that at least a little
Yeah.
bit chip on your shoulder there?
You know, I don't know. I'm sure there's a little bit of that, but at the same time, I think we have a lot to prove, and I think that just kind of adds maybe some fuel to the fire. But just because it is the coaches, it's not the media, it's not this, it's the coaches that pick that, and me personally. I know we have some players deserving of that. Two of these guys are with me right now, but you know what? I don't think it changes anything. I don't think it changes the mindset. And our guys going to go out there and continue to work at a really high level and hold each other to a really high standard. So that's the great thing about the preseason. It is just the preseason. It doesn't really matter. I couldn't tell you where we were picked, year one, two, or three. Obviously this year I remember because it just happened, but the previous 2 years I couldn't tell you where we were picked. Really, who was the preseason all conference? Jordan McLeod was the preseason player of the year. Then he got here and he wasn't. So I don't. Some of it I think is I don't even know who picks this. Is the SIDs pick it? How are they picking it? I use PFF. That was probably my only way of using it. And then some of the guys that I remember, personally, playing against. But nowadays, this day and age, it's hard to do that. So I think some of it just might have been by accident. Then at least that's what I'm gonna chalk it up to.
That's a good way to put it. It hopefully it was an accident. I'll circle
Yeah,
back to that question for your players here in a sec.
for sure.
But being back, one more for you, and then I'll go to them. What
Okay.
being there at the for Sunbelt Media Day, it's the last go around in the Sun Belt. Just thinking back on your first 2 years being a coach at Texas State, what are your biggest takeaways from going against these other coaches, these other teams about the Sun Belt? What was your feel of the Sun Belt?
Yeah, I think there's just some really good coaches, and I think especially on the west side. Now you had Coach Huff over here on the west side, and I just think there's some really talented players, really good coaches, and it's an exciting league. It's an exciting the west side is a bunch of really good teams and really good coaches. So obviously I didn't know a ton about the Sun Belt before coming here, and I didn't know a ton about the history between some of the schools and things like that. So obviously, the more you're familiar with that, some of the smaller details and some of the smaller things matter a little bit more to you.
We'll go over to Dorian Strawn for a quick second. Offensive lineman, your first 2 years at Texas State, you were a guard your first year and then a tackle last year, really adding to that versatility. Are you staying at one position this year? Is there a chance that you may move around a little bit? And is that versatility, is that pretty important for trying to get to the next level to the NFL or another league?
Yeah, I feel like it's important, but this season I'm at left tackle, but wherever they need me to play, I mean that's where I'll play. So I feel like I can play any five on the O line. So wherever Coach Kenny and Coach Shu need me, that's where I'm willing to play.
Yeah, fun fact about Strawn. He can play center too. I don't expect him to do that, but like he said, he can play all five. And yeah, tight end. He played some tight end for us at UIW. We had in fall camp when I was at UIW in 22, to kind of break up the fall camp. We did like a pool day, and so we went in there and we were throwing the football around the pool, and he went up like one hand and snagged, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're putting in a play for Strawny, as a a tight end little pop pass, and so you never know when that might pop back out."
I'm gonna put a pin in that because I'm remembering Nash Jones in the bowl game getting a touchdown. So I'm gonna be looking out for that
Oh yeah,
for
there
number
you go.
64 this year for Dorian Strawn.
Love it.
Dorian, you go back real far with Coach Kinne here. You go all the way back to Incarnate Word, and obviously yourself and Kalil Alexander getting chosen to go to represent the team at Sunbelt Media Day. I imagine that relationship being here the entire tenure of Kinne at Texas State. I imagine that goes a long way. Just speak on that relationship you have with Coach Kinne and Coach Shoemaker as well, the co-offense coordinator, the offensive line coach. Just talk about how important that has been in you remaining a Bobcat.
It's the main reason that I remained a Bobcat. I mean, Coach Kenny and Coach Shu, those are my guys for life. I mean, when Coach Kenny first got the job at UIW, I didn't like my freshman year. It was my sophomore year. So my freshman year, I played one game probably, and then when he got the job, I used to post like Madden clips all the time on my IG. And he slid up on it with like so to me that was like, man, he's a real dude. Like, but we still haven't got our Madden game yet, but
Yeah.
we'll get it one day.
I'm
But
trying to build confidence here.
But yeah, I mean, Coach Kenny, he's a great guy, great players coach. I mean, I wouldn't want any other coach for sure.
Khalil, somewhat a similar question for yourself. You've been here the entire time for the GJ Kinney era at Texas State, and even going before you were at Coffee Village, a junior college. What was it like when these coaches reached out to you, and obviously the relationship you have with Coach Kinney, with Coach OG on the defensive line, and how important that's been for yourself to remain a Bobcat?
Oh man, well, I tell Coach Kenny all the time, like when I was in Coffeyville and when they first hit me up or whatnot, like I didn't even know what Texas State was, to be honest. Like I wasn't really, like into the college football how I was supposed to. And then when I got up here, man, it's just been love from the beginning. And Coach Kenny, reached out to me and Strawn and just telling us how thankful he is for us, just over the course of these few years. And I was just telling him like, you know, like blessed is an understatement to have you in my life, but like Coach Kenny has gave me everything I've wanted in a college experience, college football experience, plus some. So like I said earlier, I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. This is where I want to be.
Khalil, you're coming into this season. You led the team in sacks last year. It's been you've improved every year you've been at Texas State. Now you're coming to this year. You're the representative at Sunbelt Media Day. Is there a bit more of a sense of leadership within yourself when it comes to these players, specifically on the D line where there's so many new players? Do you feel that you are now a leader of this team?
Well, something I'm big on is just being the same person every day. Not trying to do too much. Obviously he chose me for a reason. And I respect his choice. So obviously he sees something in me that I was already doing. So don't of course I will be called on a little bit more, but I have no problem with that. I just step up to the task when I'm needed. So he brings me those tasks and I just perform to the best of my ability. So whatever he puts down for me, I know that he knows that I can handle it.
I'll switch over to Coach Kinney for a quick second. The last two seasons, you've led the Sun Belt in yards and in points scored, but it's a bit of a change at offensive coordinator with Landon Keppel coming in there. But you've been saying that you don't anticipate much of a drop off because of the relationship that you've had. And can you just kind of talk about the symbiotic nature of your the two of y'all's work relationship and what that's going to be like on the sideline this coming year?
Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from Coach Leftwich. I think he's one of the best coaches in all of college football, one of my best friends, super intelligent guy, unbelievable coach. And I think I say that too, just because Coach Keppel it has been with us for so long, and Coach Shoemaker has been with us for so long, and the way the offensive, line performs, and under his tutelage, and Will Bryant, coaching the tight ends, pass game coordinator that's been with me now for multiple seasons. So have a lot of confidence in those coaches, is the reason I say that. And obviously we got to go do it and prove it on Saturday. Just because you say something doesn't mean it's going to, happen. But me and Coach Keppel have a really good relationship. He was with me in 2020, is really my assistant quarterbacks. He comes with me we had 1 year apart when I went to UCF. Then, as soon as I got the head coaching job at UIW, I bring him with me there, and he's the same type of role in that assistant quarterback's role. But really, he's someone that can coach any position. I feel like he could, especially the skill positions, whether it's quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. During the bowl game, our first bowl game, he coached the running backs in that bowl game. Last year, he worked a lot very closely with Coach Morris. He was really the assistant receivers coach. He worked with some of the slots and outside at practice. Especially when you have that many players in a position group. So he really did a lot of the coaching in the receiver room and really helped Coach Morris there. And then when this opportunity came about, he does have offensive coordinator experience. He's a coach's kid. I think anytime you work for Todd Graham, and I say this in a good way, you learn so much, and you're kind of wired the same way. Like we've sat in those 5-hour staff meetings, and we've been together, for the highs and the lows, and really just gone to battle with each other for multiple years. So just have a ton of confidence in the way he's wired, his organization, and just his overall football knowledge. But I'm going to be heavily involved, and with the quarterbacks, with play calling, with everything. So I don't expect for it to look much different. Obviously, that a lot of that depends on your personnel, especially at the quarterback position. So we're always going to tweak that for the quarterback. But our base plays are our base plays, and you're always going to do summer studies. And there's a couple of teams that we've studied this summer that I think do some really good things that we'll incorporate that.
And I know he played at Tulsa as well. Does the connection go back that far for the two of you?
It doesn't. We
Yeah.
missed each other. Really, the connection was Coach Graham. Coach Graham was at Tulsa when Landon was there, and then so when Coach Graham brought him to Tulsa, obviously we just had that connection. But we do have Dane Evans and Dex and Landon. So we do have some real Tulsa ties there.
Yeah, the Hurricanes of the South. With the
There you go.
the co-OC tag for Jordan Shoemaker. What is that going to look like? Is it really, does he have input on play calling, or is it really just more setting up the offense, or what's that whole relationship between the three of y'all going to look like running the offense?
Yeah, for sure, and really, I gave that to Coach Shu, and because he's earned that, and I think he's one of the premier coaches in all of college football. He's been with us at UIW, and what we do in the run game. He's previously been the O line and run game coordinator, but I wanted his input and on everything, and that's just not scheme related to that's organization, that's really everything that goes into building a program. So I wanted to give that to him for reward for the hard work and all the great things he's done for us at Texas State.
Going back to the players, Dorian, I asked Coach about it earlier. No players on the first or second preseason teams for Texas State. How does that make you feel when you see that? Do you feel, no big deal, or is it a little bit of a chip on your shoulder? What goes through your mind when you see something like that?
I mean, me personally, since it's preseason, I mean, it'd have been nice to get it, but it's nothing that I'm like stressed out about. But I'm for sure working to have a great season. Like, I won't. It's not about the accolades. It's about just helping my team win. I want to do whatever I can do every game to help my team win.
What about for you, Kalil? How do you feel about the snubs?
it definitely feels good to be recognized. But it's not everything. Like he said, it's preseason for a reason. That nobody's played a snap yet, so that can't dictate how things are going to look when you come into the season. Like Coach Kinne was saying, some people's pick to win the Sun Belt Player of the Year, and that year comes and it doesn't happen. So it really doesn't mean anything. It feels good to be recognized, but it's something else to add fuel to the fire, just keep us motivated.
How much motivation, and this is going to be for both players. We'll start with Dorian. How much motivation, more motivation is there this year to walk away from the Sun Belt with a conference championship?
For me personally, it's a lot more because it is my last season, so I want to definitely give it 118, 15, 120%. Give it as much as I can and try to help my teammates become better players, become better teammates, become better people. Just progressing in all aspects, off the field, on the field, just in all aspects.
Um, I'm that's always been the goal. It's not just because we're leaving the Sun Belt this year. It's not because it's my senior year. I'm doing it for the people I play with. The coaches who coach us, who take time out of their lives and out of their families' lives to come here and pour into us. To get where we want to be. So that's always been the goal for me. It's no more motivation, no more motivation you can get from me. I'm all in, but it's just the matter of we can get everybody else on board.
And I'll end it with this. We'll end it on a bit of a different note. Or maybe different from football, maybe not. We'll find out. But I'll start with you, Dorian. What is something about yourself that you feel like a lot of people don't know that you wish they did know about you?
I'm a big family guy. Like I love my family. I'm a loyal guy. If you love me, I love you. So, I mean, like, I'm a big reciprocator of love.
And same for you, Kalil. What's something about yourself that you don't think a lot of people know that you wish they did know?
Um, I'm a walking testament. I'm a walking testament that anything is possible, just from my upbringing, from my time I've been in college, it hasn't been a walk in the park. So I'm just here to, not only do for my team, but just do for the community as well, and just let like kids out there know that, it's something bigger than what you're going through right now. So that's what I really want people to know about me. Like it's anything is possible.
Awesome. Great. Well, we'll end it there. I appreciate you so much for carving out some time. I know it's a really busy day and you guys have been talking a lot of football today. So thank you all. GJ Kinne, Dorion Strawn, Kalil Alexander. Enjoy your time in New Orleans and have some gumbo on me. I wish I was there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, and I just want to say thank you for everything you do
Yes, sir.
for us
Thank you.
and covering us and giving us the coverage that we deserve, and you do an unbelievable job, and we appreciate you
Yes, sir.
so much, man. So appreciate everything you do, and look forward to that first game.
Thanks for saying that. I'm honored and humbled
Yeah,
to do what I do and get to talk to y'all. Enjoy New
for
Orleans,
sure.
fellas.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.